Hey Mario.
Hey Nick.
Good to see you again. So we're here catching up with you after. This is kind of a follow-up video. If you haven't seen it, you should watch the video where Mario discusses playing games in secret and hiding it from his wife and kids. This is our follow-up with you about a couple weeks later. So there were a lot of YouTube comments sending you a request to play Journey with your wife.
Well, first of all, there were also a lot of suggestions that I get a divorce, which I did.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So short video.
Yeah.
But yeah. Problem solved. There were also a lot of comments saying that you look like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, which I was very flattered by.
Yeah, he's a handsome man.
Yeah, Bruce Banner's great, and I can totally rage, just like Bruce Banner. Yes.
So we procured a copy of Journey for you and sent you home with it this past weekend.
Yes.
Did you guys get around to playing it together?
We did.
Yeah.
Although not together.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So I went home after getting all the suggestions to play Journey and that my wife should play Journey.
Yeah.
I went to my wife and said, so I did this video and got a lot of YouTube suggestions.
Did she see the video?
No, I said you shouldn't watch the video.
Right, good. Keep her away from the comments if at all possible.
Exactly. But I said, but the internet wants you to play this game. And her response was, okay, cool. Totally, like way faster.
Awesome.
My plan was to play it through first so that I knew what it was, and then give it to her, like just set her up with a new game and give her a couple instructions and just let her go. I played it for like an hour and got to a certain point, and then she came home, so I told her that I had played a little bit, but that like she should play
from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Totally.
So what happened was we put the kids to bed on Saturday night. She's like, all right, you want me to play this game? You fell asleep during the Americans, so you go watch the Americans for an hour, catch up, I'll play the game.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was that was pretty sporting.
Cool trade, yeah.
Yes. So I set her up, and the thing is that it's interesting is that she's never played video games.
For people who play a lot of games, Journey seems like a very straightforward thing, right? Very minimal, you're just using the stick, and you can even tilt the controller to move the camera, and there's like 2 buttons maybe.
Yes.
But for someone who's being handed like a PS3 controller for the first time, it's probably realistically pretty overwhelming.
Right, and it is, because there's all these buttons that you would think are supposed to do something,
but don't do anything.
They don't do anything, and so. But I think it was good. So I just like sat with her for a couple minutes, sort of made sure that she got all of the triggers and everything, or everything was dialed, and then I left her, and she played for an hour.
Cool.
And while I watched the Americans, and I came back, and she was still playing. She had put the headphones on. It was interesting. Of course, she stopped. We paused it, and she said, I started asking, like, what did you think?
Yeah.
And she said, undeniably, it's beautiful.
Okay.
I said, well, does it change the way you think about video games? She said, actually, yes, it does. In her mind, video games were about, killing everything and scoring points.
Totally. Yes, and Journey has neither.
Journey has neither. So all of a sudden, she did say, she thought it was a little boring, which I think, well, I think that's saying a lot coming from a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah. I mean, I guess pacing-wise, a lot of people like to compare Journey to other approachable CG things like a Pixar movie or something, but the reality of Journey, as beautiful as it is that it's also a lot of being in a desert.
Yeah.
Like
yes. But I would also say, I would argue it's not boring. So I then played it. So I'd played it up to a certain point, then she'd played, then I played because she didn't get as far as I had gotten. So then I continued her game and played it all the way through. I didn't find it boring. I found it actually quite emotional.
That Grammy-winning soundtrack.
Well, I cried, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I started tearing up.
It's a common reaction.
Yeah, it was the whole thing of when you, I knew that when you come across somebody else, that it's somebody else
a real person.
It's a real person out there in the world.
Yeah, it's like this interesting like parasocial relationship with a person you've never met and will never meet.
Right.
Did you get the sense that while she was playing it, she was progressing very much, or was she maybe just sliding around on the hills?
So she got to like I think, not super far. She was still in the desert. But what was interesting is that after I played, I talked to her about it and said, it's really crazy. You weren't far from being out of the desert, and once you get past that, then you're in all these other worlds, and it's a very emotional and very cool progression. And she initially said, I don't really feel the need to play it any further than where she had.
Yeah.
But after I described it, she said she thought, actually, yeah, I'll play it to the end.
Okay.
So she hasn't yet.
All right.
But I think it's on the table.
Yeah? It's possible?
I think it's possible.
So another cool thing about that disc we gave you is that it has 3 different games by the group who made it, That Game Company.
Right.
And another one, and there were a few YouTube comments suggesting this as well, but Flower is another one on there that I think is very approachable and extremely beautiful.
Right.
So maybe give that a shot. But I think the most interesting thing is that she said that it made her reconsider almost the stereotype about games, which is that they're violent and about points. I mean, certainly a lot of them are, but there is now room for these other types of games, and it's really exciting to see that, like, it's okay if maybe 95% of games are about violence, and we can just have this one niche of, like, beautiful, interesting, approachable stuff.
Yes, and so I asked her, actually, how do you feel now about our son playing video games? And I thought the response was interesting. She basically said, you know what, I still don't want him to play video games, but it's because he's 7 years old.
Okay.
And she feels like, you know what, I can't always be looking at the media that he's watching and into, and so I would just prefer that he wasn't. But that said, it's an inevitable thing, and she's going to be okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a gradual process. Like, you can't expect one game to maybe change her whole worldview overnight about this sort of thing. But it sounds like it was a pretty successful experiment so far.
I think that it was successful. I think that I think just the fact that she sat down and played a game was a huge breakthrough.
Totally.
I think the fact that she is going to go back and finish it is a huge breakthrough.
Another huge breakthrough, yeah.
And the fact that she gets that our kid is going to play them, and that there's a world out there of video games that I think she'll be totally comfortable.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's
playing.
It sounds like this has at least a little bit shattered the illusion that, like, there's this big, scary, violent media monster that's going to, like, envelop her kid and make him play all these disgusting, horrible things all the time.
Yes. Can I tell you another sort of interesting breakthrough in this whole experiment is that I was playing Journey during the day while the entire family was home.
Wow, that's very different from the way you were playing Batman, huh?
It is, and my wife never came in and said, "What are you doing?" She knew I was out there in our study playing, and she just let me be.
Cool.
And it was that felt also like a pretty
that's awesome.
big
well,
deal.
Keep reshaping your household view of video games one beautiful game at a time, and we'll check in with you once she's beaten Journey. Maybe play a little bit of Flower. Let's see what happens.
I'll see if she'll do that.